Mahjong, Mahjong, Mahjong. That's the national game of China, some say. We are joined now in Beijing by our sports commentator, Dong Jun. Also in Beijing, Einar Tangen, our current affairs commentator. In Stockholm, Axel Eschenburg, who is the vice president of the, listen to this, European Mahjong Association. Welcome, sir, to our program. I want to begin with you, Mr. Eschenburg. So, when did you start playing Mahjong?
Oh, I started playing Mahjong when I was about 8 with my parents and my sister, because my parents liked the game. It was a nice game. It was easy enough to just learn the basic rules and teach them to kids. So we played pretty much once a week, every evening, and that was like about 40 years ago.
All right.
So since then I've been playing on and off, usually in a more social setting. When I found that there was actual tournaments being played in Mahjong, I started with that, playing with the with the competition rules, which originated in China in 1998.
I see. Well, there seems to be a family history behind you. That's interesting to take a look at how Mahjong has become popular around the world. Take a look at Europe, for example. Back in the year 2000, various Mahjong clubs appeared in quite a few European countries. 2005 witnessed the establishment of the European Mahjong Association, and the first Open European Mahjong Championship was held with the founding members including Austria, Denmark, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, and the Netherlands. Not necessarily in Stockholm, but you know what? Mr. Eschenburg really flourished. So far there are over 1 million players and nearly 20 organizations of Mahjong in Europe, just after China and Japan. The Europeans seem to have a lot of time, Mr. Einar. Thank it.
Well, it's a game. It's a family game. It's something that you can do kind of like, it's a little bit different from bridge in that you're not playing teams and things like that. But this is a really a very traditional Chinese game, and I think people are fascinated by that.
Yeah. The Chinese families are playing it, particularly during the Spring Festival. And you read about this in the Chinese novels, like the Joy Luck Club. People are playing Mahjong, and people take it as if it's a symbol of China. Is it, Dong Jun, according to you?
But don't forget, although Mahjong enjoys a popularity not only in Europe but in some neighboring countries in Asia, but China, the original plays of Mahjong actually suffer setbacks for decades during the Cultural Revolution, and in many decades after the Cultural Revolution.
Have to catch up, right?
The government has been trying to deal a very heavy blow against any gambling related to Mahjong. Yeah.
But now it's not, right? It's a sport.
Yeah, but as long as they don't.
What is a sport? I don't know. I mean, it's a mind game. It's like bridge and things like that. I don't think sport. I think sports
I'm not even
is more
sure
active.
about mind, the word.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it
takes a great amount of skill.
Chances.
Okay, Mr. Eschenburg, you have heard from your Chinese colleagues over here, as well as Mr. Tangen, who have been living in China for like forever. They have very different views about Mahjong compared to what you had to say. Has China's, national sports, in a way, Mahjong, becoming ever more mysterious and favorable elsewhere in the world than in its homeland, Mr. Eschenburg? Briefly.
Well, I actually agree with a lot of the views. As far as the classical Mahjong goes, it's being seen as a very nice game to play. It's mysterious. It has a very nice set of rules. It's very pleasing to play.
Really?
But it's not really seen that much as a mind sport.
What kind of nice rules you're talking about? Let me try to learn about it. What is kind of nice rules you're talking about? I'm a Chinese. I don't know that much because I don't play Mahjong myself. But so tell me, and our international viewers.
In general, the original idea is rather straightforward. You don't need specific combinations of tiles to make a winning hand. All you have to have is 4 sets of 3, which have to form a certain pattern, and then a pair. But there's no additional fixed rules. As soon as you have this pattern ready, you have a hand, you will get score. You may not get a high score, but you will get a score, which means tactically it's sort of you can play for nice hands. make sure that your hand is looking nice and get that, or you can play for a fast hand and it works like that.
You know what? Our producer
in contrast
have
to that,
prepared.
in the Mahjong competition rules, you
very complicated, according to you, Mr. Eschenburg. Our producer had prepared this very nice set of mahjong, as shown over here. So it all has very different kinds of symbols. Some is supposed to indicate the kind of scores you're likely to achieve. Some are just used as tools in order to achieve those scores. So very interesting over there, a whole set of it. Get your mind-boggling test during the Spring Festival. Huh?
Character, circle, and bamboo.
And don't forget flowers and winds.
Wow. All right, over my head. But why are Chinese, through history, so fascinated by this, according to you, Dongjun?
You don't deny the very comprehensiveness of this game. It's a marvelous invention by the Chinese. Although people may argue that actually the very established set and patterns and rules were not available until Qing dynasty, just several hundred years ago. But it has a compelling influence, at least among our neighboring countries.
Yeah.
And it's become so popular in Japan, Korea, and in the Hong Kong and Taiwan of China that even when Mahjong suffered a sudden stop during those special decades, it kept developing in Asia. And I think they kind of play a very important role promoting Mahjong into Europe and North America, not by China itself.
Yeah, but that was in the 20s. The first Abercrombie and Fitch was the first one to import mahjong tiles into the United States, and it became just a kind of a game, a very social game, mostly played by women. Some men did play it itself, but I mean, it's not the connotations with gambling and things like that were really the downfall that everyone had. But it's not a bad game. And as China develops, there's going to be a lot of curiosity about what Chinese like and what they do and things like that. So I would expect people to say, well, I want to learn Mahjong. It sounds interesting.
Yeah. Mr. Eschenburg, you know, we see different countries. They have their favorite sport. For the Americans, it's the American soccer or American football, shall we say. You know, that it is not that well played elsewhere in the world. For the Canadian, it's the ice hockey, which is not that much played elsewhere in the world. Different countries have their favorite sport. And Chinese have this sport that you just sit around the table as if you could have just dumplings right after it.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of it has to do with pursuit of luck.
Okay, all right. Mr.
Yes.
Eschenburg, what about your assessment? Does it show the national characteristics in the sports they play?
To be honest, I think the comparison with the sports with American football or ice hockey are misleading. Because aside of those,
all right.
each of those countries also have specific games people play in a family setting. And initially, to play Mahjong, you need 4 people. So it is very much useful in a family setting, in a small scale setting. You don't need big teams, you don't need a huge backdrop organization, huge fields like you use for American football, lots of tools or anything.
Right.
You just need a Mahjong set and 4 people. And most countries in Europe have sort of their own game. And those games are rarely recognized outside those countries. So if I go to Germany, I would mention a game called Doppelkopf, which is very commonly played in Germany. But once you leave Germany, nobody knows it.
That's
it's
right.
a local game.
Right.
And Mahjong is special in a way that it actually attracts interest from other countries than China.
Well, such as you, of course.
So
but you know, when you think about Mahjong,
it has a certain specialness
whether it's a
to it.
family game or it's an international game, one that could become a sport or just mind game itself, it's interesting because you have to play with 4 people together. It's not just one versus the other.
Not one pair against another pair, but 4 different individuals.
Yes, indeed, and it could go in very different directions, and people could have allies with one another. They could form groups, and those are all temporary. So it's rather a human interest game than a sports game or a mind game itself, I would say. Dongjun?
Yeah, that's why we say that Mahjong was just recently included in the International Mind Game Association instead of any other athletic sport
Right.
association.
Here comes the interesting point. You know, okay, the chess, even the Go, they fail because they have lost to AI, artificial intelligence. But it's not easy for Mahjong because you've got to have 4 people to play together. How is that going to be contested? Maybe in the future it's the only game left that is not like
no,
I
to
believe
AI,
that
artificial
AI has a
intelligence.
potential to
you could do
develop
it.
into this.
You could do
As
it.
long as you have a universal international rule
All right,
on how to play.
all right.
But there's another aspect to things. I mean, in the
Really?
West, yes, in the
Go
West,
ahead.
we'll say something like, well, we play bridge. In China, they play Go. I mean, they play Mahjong. Mahjong is you against the other 3 people at the table in some parts. But in really, you're against your neighbor, because if you put down tile and they claim it, you're going to have to pay more to them than otherwise. So there's this shifting alliance kind of idea, whereas bridge is very much straightforward. It's pairs and pairs. And
Right.
then we talk about Go versus chess. Chess is so many moves ahead. You're thinking 20, 30 moves ahead, whereas Go is very situational.
Okay, and your point is?
That sometimes games are a insight into the culture and the way people think.
And probably how the world is moving.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And among all the board games, I think Mahjong is more like a
Final
100-meter dash. Each sprinter wants to be the first to hit the line, the finish line.
But you
Okay.
don't. You,
Like a who?
But I've seen
All right.
seen many times where people will throw away good hands simply to not let somebody else win.
We're going to talk about the strategies of Mahjong off the microphone after we finish our show because we're really running out of time. Mr. Eschenburg, final words from you. 20 seconds if you can, sir.
I hope that there will be a nice event concerning with Mahjong on the Winter Olympics in 2022, because I think it would be a very good showcase to show how far Mahjong has come from being a backroom,
All right.
luck-based betting game towards an actual mind sport,
All right.
which it is.
Axel Eschenburg, Einar Tangen, last but certainly not least, Dongjun. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us, and enjoy your Mahjong over the weekend.